Karine Jean-Pierre, spokesman for the president, will not say whether or not the White House would be willing to try to shut Twitter down, as the White House has suggested in recent days.
When you say that you're going to be monitoring some of the speech on there, if you see something that you don't like, would you try to shut Twitter down?
So look, when you talk about monitoring, it is, I hate to break it to you, Peter, just like everybody else, we very much monitor the news. We pay close attention to everything that you all are reporting, and Twitter's in the news a lot. And so that's what we're paying attention to. We're paying attention to what is in the news and what is being reported on the misinformation that's out there. Let's not forget there's groups like NAACP, the Anti-Defamation League, and the public health leaders have been very vocal about their concerns as well. So yes, we are reading what you all are writing and looking at what you all are reporting about the misinformation that is out there. But I would hope that all Americans, including social media companies, civil rights organizations I just laid out, including Fox as well, will agree that we need to call out hate speech and misinformation.
That's a whole lot of words to say the White House might try to shut down Twitter for allowing conservatives to speak on there. That's a whole lot of words to say it, but that's what she's saying. It's a simple question. You guys have talked about how you're monitoring Twitter because now Twitter is allowing conservatives to speak more freely. Are you willing to shut it down? Just, look, we gotta look at things, and maybe, look, that's a nice Twitter you got there. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. So I don't, the reason I mention this, I'm not surprised at all that the Democrats are willing to wield the government to shut down conservatives from having a voice in the public square. But I don't want to hear peep from Democrats on the authoritarian overreach of Ron DeSantis going after Disney. The White House is threatening to shut down Twitter if it allows conservatives to have a voice in the public square. I don't want to hear anything about wielding the government against the private corporations. Give me a break. The Democrats have been doing that since forever, and they continue to do it today in a much more aggressive way than the conservatives do. I don't want to hear it. Well, no, but it's to stop hate speech. Oh, yeah, hate speech, by which the Democrats mean speech that they don't like, by which the Democrats mean any speech from any conservative ever. Ron DeSantis says he's going to keep going. There's been a threat in recent days that Apple might kick Twitter out of the App Store because Elon Musk is allowing conservatives to speak on Twitter again. And this is simply unacceptable. So Apple says, okay, maybe we're going to get rid of Twitter. If Apple and Android did that, Twitter would basically just disappear. It would not exist because those two companies own the smartphone market. Ron DeSantis says, if Apple kicks Twitter out of the App Store, we should take antitrust action and bust them up.
We did big tech censorship bill 2 years ago. It's gotten caught up in the courts. I think the U.S. Supreme Court's going to accept that case for this term. Texas has a similar case. There's a conflict in the circuits. And so whatever the states can do to protect people's rights to engage in free expression. And what some of these companies do, they get a lot of benefits from the government, as you said, patent things like that. The social media companies get liability protection. And yet they turn around and they use that protection to marginalize voices they disagree with. So I think from the congressional perspective, though, they need to look at antitrust with these massive companies because they are exercising massive amounts of power over our society.
So the most interesting political battle here is not the right versus the left. The right-wing Ron DeSantis versus the left-wing Apple. The most interesting battle, the most controversial aspect of this is the right versus the right. The most interesting battle here is the libertarian point of view versus the conservative point of view. The libertarian point of view, which is, well, you don't like what Apple's doing, build your own Apple, build your own Twitter, versus the conservative point of view. No, we're going to bring you guys into line. You woke corporations are selling out our political order. You are doing things that are deeply wrong and unjust, and we're going to wield political power to bring you back into line. And Ron DeSantis is siding with the conservatives. It's the battle between politics is downstream of culture and the law is a teacher. Okay, because politics is downstream of culture is true in as much as it's true. Yeah, it's true that the movies affect the political order. In fact, that's why we're all so concerned about what Disney is doing. But the way that phrase has been used has basically been as a way to let Republican politicians off the hook, to say that, politics, the government is not how we should solve any of our problems. We should only make movies. We should only engage in the cultural battles, and because it would be so unjust to wield the government, versus the traditional view, which is, of course, we should wield the government. Why else do we run for elections? Of course, the government can fix some problems. Of course, the law is a teacher. And we should know that, because conservatives and libertarians prattle on all the time about how the government creates certain incentives and that can lead to bad outcomes. We talk about how in the 1960s, the government created all these perverse incentives with the rise of the welfare state and all sorts of terrible laws, and that led to bad outcomes because those incentives changed people's behavior. Well, if the government can create incentives that make people's behavior worse, the government also can create incentives that make people's behavior better. Of course, that's always been true. Of course, the law is a teacher. And so what Ron DeSantis is saying is, yeah, you movie makers, you go make your movies, and you people in the culture or private industry, obviously, you do the best that you can. You fix the culture from your angle, but I'm going to wield the government, okay? And 10 years ago, I bet a lot of conservatives and Republicans would not have spoken like this or would not have wanted to hear that kind of message. But this is a different time, and I think Ron DeSantis knows what time it is.